And we are live, guys. We are live. So, welcome. This is Outpost Frequencies, episode 12, I believe. And I've got with me today Ben and Dom. Say hi, guys. Oh, God. This is getting off to a rousing start already, I can tell. So, thank you very much for joining us. And if we have any problems with the stream, don't worry. We are recording this, and we will probably put up the actual recording, of course, the podcast. And please, welcome to lastmovieoutpost.com, celebrating our 1-year anniversary. 1 full year. They said it wouldn't last. And it still may not, but we're giving it a hell of a try. So it's we're ranked number 5 on some feed spot out of 200. But if you actually go through a list, it only goes to about 170, and then they don't. There are no more. Well, yeah, that's true. Film Goblin wasn't on there, but we're doing our best. Who's that? I don't think they were. So to be honest with you, I submitted it as part of a PR campaign, and they put us at 95. So you take that for whatever it is. Uh, that's true. It didn't. Ah, thank God for that. So wonderful. I'm glad to have you guys here. Remember, you guys, if you like this video, please share it. You can help us out a lot by sharing these videos. Subscribe to our channel, and please come to lastmovieoutpost.com. We have a weekly open thread where you can just talk with whatever you like. And in general, we keep the best movie streaming news and reviews, I think, on the web. And thanks to Ben, we're also doing a lot of great comic. The 1970s, I think, was the last one you did. A part 2 of that. Yeah, it looked good. So yes, no, I know it's crazy that we've actually made it this far. So I'm Oh, was it really? I honest the site actually went with its first article, I think, a week from now. Um, yeah. Mo- mo- Movie cum dumpster, things like that. Sure. So yeah, we had kind of a cold start because I was struggling like a son of a bitch trying to figure out how does WordPress work. I don't know. Hey, you got to pick a date. August 15th is easy to remember, so I say let's just go with that. Oh, we got a little problem here. We're only listening to you. They're only listening to me. So let me make sure I've got. Yeah, it is a crime. So just hang out there for a second. Advanced audio. Oh no, that's not it. I swear I have more problems with audio half of the time, so I apologize for that. Headset earphone. Okay. All right, you guys, say something.
Something.
Okay, yeah.
Beat you to it.
Bob, can you hear us now?
Poor man.
That poor man. Yes.
The real one, or the avatar, or the actual?
So everything you talked about, Ben, everything you talked about didn't go through except for me answering you. So I apologize for that.
Hopefully you heard the drag race that just went up and down my street.
I did not. Well, I didn't hear it, but they wouldn't have heard anything you guys said. They just saw you mouthing with nothing coming out. So,
all right.
But I believe
that's
we're
how
good
everything
now.
is to me.
Was that audio picked up for later?
We get to do it again.
You got to do it again.
Recite it.
Talk about that was take
here.
one. Talk about the history again.
Gotta lip sync everything back up.
Yeah, it's like
we're gonna ADR it later.
I saw this fantastic documentary. I think I want to say it was called like Hollywood Goes to War or something like that, and it was about what actors and producers and directors had done during World War II. And they had put together all the propaganda films, and Ronald Reagan was in the one about penicillin or whatever it was. I mean, then Frank Capra went out and he was a combat photographer and all that. And they would show these movies to the generals, and the generals absolutely loved them. And at the end of the war, or towards the end of the war, I want to say, the generals were like, do you have any outtakes? Because the outtake, I mean, everybody knows the outtakes are just hilarious.
Sure.
They didn't have them. So they went back and filmed outtakes of like flubbing lines and lighters not working and all kinds of things, and then put that together and then ended up showing it to the Joint Chiefs or whoever it was at the time. That's basically been what you have to do. You're going to have to redo the whole thing.
Well, you know what's funny? You ever seen the movie Modern Romance with Albert Brooks?
Oh, I think I watched it once, but I don't remember much about it.
It's great. It's really funny. But he's like a sound effects guy in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing, that Foley work where they add the sound effects after, in the studio after it's all shot, after the editing's done. So it's this outer space movie with George Kennedy that they're doing, this movie within a movie. And
of course
Kennedy's running down the hall, and they're adding these footsteps like on metal.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, they're like, add these footsteps. And the guy, in charge of the sound, the soundboard guy, he's running on carpet. He's running on, but they add these, sound like walking on metal sound effects to this thing. It's awesome. That movie is awesome.
I'm going to have to
find that. That's brilliant. I will absolutely watch that. Albert Brooks is he's underrated for his comedies anyway.
That's a great movie.
One of his I've always enjoyed that I don't know. I don't know if I call it a guilty pleasure, but one of those you just wouldn't think that you would enjoy that much. It's the one he did with Debbie Reynolds, Mother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, he was. What's the? Oh, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Serendipity, where he plays the screenwriter, and the Muse.
Yeah.
I think that was the last one of his films I saw, and I just enjoyed it. It's just a pleasurable film to watch.
I like him. His puppet. Have you seen the ventriloquist stand-up comedy routine? Right.
I think so.
Funniest thing ever on the Tonight Show.
Okay.
I'll have to look at that.
So look up Albert Brooks ventriloquist skit on YouTube.
I will.
And he's got this puppet, and he moves his lips the entire time. So he's doing the puppet. He changes voices. He does his voice, then he does the puppet's voice. But he just talks like me, going like this with the puppet mouth. And then he sings a song and makes the puppet drink a glass of water while he's singing a song. It's fantastic.
Did you ever see him?
I love that kind of humor.
Did you ever see him do his it was taking food and using food to do celebrity impersonations? And what he did was like, here's what you do. You take a hot potato, like really hot, like just out of the microwave, just out of the oven hot, you know? And this is how you do Burt Lancaster. You take the hot potato and just before, don't let it cool down, just stick it in your mouth. And he just shoves it in the mouth and goes, and he says, you can also do this with curly. You do this, but you also make a train whistle. Just start making a train whistle. Go, woo, woo, and then stick that potato in your mouth. Woo, he puts the potato in and goes, woo, 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 woo. It was fantastic. I mean, I rarely see Johnny go that, like he's just falling out of his chair.
He's, I think he's probably, he's probably the greatest white stand-up comic ever, I'd say.
He was.
So, I mean,
he was the best guest star on The Simpsons.
1973, but still.
Yeah, true. He was the best guest star on The Simpsons, though. Hank Scorpio. Is there anyone better? I think not.
Oh man, I haven't thought of Hank Scorpio in forever. Okay, I'll give you that. You've got me sold. I guess I know what I'm doing the rest of the night now that the Cubs fucking lost.
You're having an Albert Brooks marathon?
I'm going to just do an Albert Brooks, big old, in honor of Busey, I'm going to do an Albert Brooks jerk-off-a-thon.
Defending your life. Defending your life.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
post that puppet thing someplace.
That'd be great. Yeah, post it in one of the talkbacks.
It'll be someplace.
So
you're gonna get the thing and put it in the place, and don't forget the bullets for the thing.
That's right.
All right, so 1999. Let's take it back. 2000. Party over. It's out of time.
Well, one more thing before we get started. What we were talking about.
That was the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. This is our 1 year anniversary. I don't want to get all through make you go through everything you talked about, but thank you everybody for being a part of it. We didn't think we'd make it. Please subscribe, all that stuff. Please come to the site, lastmovieoutpost.com. Today, what Ben is saying, we're going to talk about the last great movie year. And you guys, or maybe it's dumb, I don't remember. You guys say 1999 was the last great movie year.
Somebody posted an article somewhere about it that it instantly triggered. It's like, you know what? That's actually probably true, because you consider that. Look at the year 2000 was a pretty good year. It's basically right into. I mean, even 2001 is not a bad year. It's that weird carryover of it's still movies that were made in the 90s, so they basically still have that same aesthetic and everything. But I mean, look at
except for 9/11, but yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that there's a tipping point when you realize the good times are over, and there's a definite separation between this is clearly a movie made in the 90s, and this is clearly something that came afterwards, especially right around the 2004 with the re-election. That's just everything. It falls apart at that point, and you see this weird divorce from because 1999 you had American Beauty wins Best Picture.
Which horseshit.
It also makes whatever. Okay, it's a good movie. I don't remember if it would be my favorite of the year, but it also makes like nearly $300-something million worldwide.
It should have been American
which at the
Pie.
time, I mean, is astronomical. But it was also a critical success. It struggled. I think I remember when it came out, it didn't open at #1 at the box office. It wasn't until like the second week or the third week. Suddenly, oh, look at this. Word of mouth. You remember word of mouth? It wasn't fucking Twitter. Next thing you know, everybody's like, "Did you see American Beauty? Oh my God, it's #1 for a couple of weeks or whatever." It ends up winning Best Picture. And everybody saw it. And it was actual sort of cultural thing, because I remember, there were jokes on Saturday Night Live, back when Saturday Night Live was funny. You don't see that basically from 2000 on. It sort of starts to drop a little bit unless you have a major tentpole like Lord of the Rings or something like that. But it just collapses from there. And so, 1999, you get the Phantom Menace came out. I mean,
which I think is a handicap right there. I'm sorry. That's the #1 movie of the year. The Phantom Menace.
Almost $1 billion.
Not to be a dick, but I've watched that movie probably more than any other movie that made that year.
But also, I mean, and you look at, hey, even Bruce Willis had a run there, because he had Armageddon came out the year before, It's the number one movie in the world, which I just looked up this morning. It made $500 million. And then he does The Sixth Sense a year later, this tiny little film that becomes this cultural thing that everybody, I mean, you go,
295 million domestic, yes.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
that was the number 2 movie of the year.
Exactly. Yeah, right behind Phantom Menace. You don't get that anymore.
Okay, so what are you looking for? I think there is something to be said for the idea that one of the things I remember Red Letter Media talking about was that Independence Day is kind of like the moment when studios realized that all you had to be is big and dumb, and you could make tons of money. That you didn't nobody gave a shit about story anymore. Now, I'm not saying that it happened all at once, but like up until then, up until '96, when you had the 1-2 punch of dumbness and effects of Twister and Independence Day. I mean, you follow it up with things like Godzilla.
I'll knife fight anybody.
When did MIB come out? 97?
97.
Was it 90? Yeah. Hey, what a run Will Smith had. It came to a crashing halt in 99 with Wild Wild West.
Wild West. Oh, my God.
Or no, that was 2000, I think. I don't know.
So are you talking about general quality movies that came out that year? Or are you, I mean, we're not just talking about box office here.
So right. I think he's talking about the whole thing.
Okay, so let me run through some of the top ones.
What do they call it? Zeitgeist? It's the whole thing.
All right, well, let's take a look at what we have here, and then you guys can be the judge. Here's the top movies. We said Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, number 1. Sixth Sense, number 2. Very quality movie. Number 3 was Toy Story 2. I think it was a better sequel.
Great movie.
Great movie.
You know, hold on, let me say something about Toy Story 2. Here's the thing about that movie I don't like. People just give it a pass. Toy Story 2, Woody has this whole backstory that has existed since like 1958. How come Woody doesn't have any did his memory get erased? How come he doesn't have any knowledge of any of this stuff before Andy? What the hell is that shit? I mean,
I never even
about
that.
I mean, what the hell? That doesn't make any sense.
You told me to
look at
Jordan.
We're gonna get into well, you know what? I will take that Toy Story 2 leap of logic over the piles and piles and piles of absolute shit that come much later. Like Toy Story 2's problem. Oh, it's a kid's cartoon. We can let it go.
Yeah.
But then you get, I think you can just take any box office success in the past 10 years at least, and just be like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this happening? Actually, any Star Trek film since Star Trek 6, you could say that, and then you could just wrap up the Star Wars trilogy with why are we doing this?
So you're
not a fan. Wait, hold on. You're not a fan of Kirk chopping wood. Hey, I'm Kirk chopping wood.
Kirk chop. Fuck him. Well, fuck that. Not him. I'm gonna take that back because I'm gonna catch hell for that one. I am a Kirk fan, but fuck all of that bullshit. It's a half thought out goddamn episode.
Hey, the worst part about that is that Picard went to Guinan first. And when she said she couldn't, that's when he went and took Kirk. Kirk is the second choice to Guinan. Somebody was not thinking when they wrote that movie.
Clearly not.
Well, yeah, that's Kirk's last great
Enterprise
line.
B is on a short trip around, what is it, Pluto and back, and they're the only ship in the fucking system when the oven spark shows up. It's like, really? Let's start there. There you go, Ben.
It's always the only ship in the quadrant. They're always the only ship available. There ain't 8 million ships out there that we've seen in other episodes. No, they're the only one. And it's Earth. Of course they're the only one around Earth. It's the headquarters of the Federation. You wouldn't have 1 billion ships hanging around there. Don't be crazy.
No. I mean, the bureaucrats alone have got 700,000 or 800,000 yachts. If they had space yachts in Star Trek, I don't know. I'm assuming they do.
Number 4.
Hey, it's a number 4 because it's Ben's turn.
Austin Powers and the Spy Who Shagged Me.
You know what? I like that movie, except I cannot stand the fat bastard character.
Yeah, and then he did the gold member character in the third one, and that was even worse.
Yeah.
It's just gross, man. It's so funny.
I mean,
everybody
like
remembers it. That's the important thing. Sorry, Ben, but everybody remembers Fat Bastard. Even people who, like, my kids know who Fat Bastard is. They watch. I put on Austin Powers. It's on Netflix. I'm like, you kids got to see what movies are like when you could have a little hint of something offensive.
Everybody remembers 9/11. I don't think that makes it good, dude.
Tell my kids, wait until you see what happens next.
It needed wonton jokes.
Yeah.
I'm taking it back to Ghostbusters.
Take it back to Ghostbusters. Everything comes back to that crap. I think the best part of Austin Powers was their trailer. And I don't know if you remember it, because this was the year that the Phantom Menace.
You mean the Steven Spielberg and all that stuff at the beginning?
No. That was the beginning of Gold Member. This was just a trailer. And the thing about
remember the trailer.
The trailer
if you
goes.
See one movie this year, see Star Wars.
Yeah, if you see only one movie this year, make it Star Wars. But if you see two, I was like, they do. It's like, screw it. Don't even try.
Let's talk about how great. Well, and also I think 1999, 2000. That's when movie trailers start to take a decline too.
Well, we lost the movie guy,
and I even think the last great movie trailer I ever saw was probably the first two teasers for Pearl Harbor, as much as it pains me to say. But the teaser for Pearl Harbor, say what you want, Jerry Bruckheimer knew spectacle. And the first teaser, and it had the theme music from, not the theme, but it was music from The Crow. And it was the kids playing baseball, and the Japanese Zero comes flying over, and it's like, oh, I'm excited to see this. And then you see the movie.
And it's awful.
And it's
that was the one they did a whole song about it in Team America. Pearl Harbor sucks, I love you.
But the Phantom Menace, that first trailer, is still probably, or first teaser,
it's
is
the best
still
ever.
one of the best things ever. It's absolutely one of the best things. That's back when they knew how to sell a movie too. Like, marketing hadn't quite taken over, so they had to get creative and not just demand movies be a certain way. Like, okay, we're gonna have to work with this, and you got teasers. That's the other part. You got teaser and then the trailer. Whereas now you get the teaser for the trailer in the trailer. And it's the most irritating goddamn thing on earth.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Everything is a trailer now.
Yeah.
Movie is a fucking trailer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for the most part it is. Go ahead, Yoda. Where are we now? We're at Toy Story 2?
We are
at
Austin
Powers.
Austin Powers was number 4. Number 5, okay. This is the one that's going to give you guys hives. The Matrix.
Go ahead, Ben.
Ben, I know you're
mean
waiting
the
to go out of it.
I like that movie better when it was called The Invisibles.
There's a story here.
So there was a Vertigo comic mid-90s called The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. And basically every single story beat from that thing at a high level, this was published by Warner Brothers, DC Comics, was taken by these siblings and put into
whatever they are
movie.
this week.
Yeah. And then they made a movie. I mean, the visuals are different. It's got some innovative things about it. But, I mean, it's not like these guys came up with anything themselves. And the proof of that is they've never made another good movie.
They couldn't even make a decent sequel.
Well, yeah.
Come on, you went from Lethal Weapon to Lethal Weapon 2. You guys can figure this out. They didn't have anything to do with it. I understand that. But you can go from Lethal Weapon to Lethal Weapon 2 or Superman to Superman 2. And they went from Matrix, which was fucking neat when it came out, to... Does anybody remember that there are sequels? Because they had to flesh this thing out. Who got in trouble? What is it? I've never seen it. But it's the Game of Thrones syndrome.
Yeah.
They had that problem, apparently.
I've never seen the third Matrix movie. That second one was one of the worst movies I ever saw in the theater.
It's apocalyptically boring.
That guy sitting in that chair in that white room talking for a half an hour about nothing. I mean,
It's a Seinfeld
what the hell am
episode.
I watching? What is this?
God,
I
I
mean,
forgot about that. Is that the one with the rave? Remember the dance?
yes.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You shouldn't do that. Don't do that. Don't have a balloon or a rave in your movie.
I
Hey,
mean,
the third
the only
one-
things I remember about the movie was that rave scene and that architect guy in that room talking in riddles. I mean,
He
I don't
basically
even
told him he wasn't anything special. He's been here before or something like that, right? He's just one of thousands. It's like,
Yeah.
why are you shooting yourself in the foot with this shit? I don't even think
That
it made
shiz
sense.
was loco, man. Remember that line? That guy, and that's my favorite line in the Matrix. There's two lines in the Matrix I like. Jesus Christ, that thing's real, and Neo, that shit's loco, man.
Not when he goes, whoa. That you can jump
I know,
things or whatever the
I
hell's
know
going
kung
on.
fu.
I know kung fu. Oh God.
I know kung fu. No,
I
you
know
don't.
That really brings up the question. Do you know anything then? What are you doing? It was an interesting film. I can still remember the theater I saw it at.
Oh, me too.
I think The Matrix is a game changer at the time for certain, and it definitely is a good movie. I mean, it is a pretty well done hero's journey movie that is still enjoyable to this day. I absolutely agree with you on The Matrix Reloaded. And the Revolutions. The Revolutions had them fighting the floating squiddies in like mech suits, but there's nothing in front of the pilots. So they just get stabbed, or can he get hit by a fast-moving rock? For God's sakes! I mean, there's a lot of just stuff. Like, I went through them recently, and I listened to what the guy was saying, and I think there is some interesting ideas there about choice and free will versus destiny and all that. But none of it is fleshed out, or it's done in such a pretentious bullshit way that you just go, I don't care. And then a lot of the things they tried to do, like there's a lot of stuff in the Matrix. I still think the effects hold up for the most part.
They do.
The stuff in the Matrix Reloaded,
about 4 weeks ago, it still holds up.
That brawl, that burly brawl they call it, where it's like 50,000 Agent Smiths come running into an alley to beat up on Neo on a
terrible.
rubber Gumby Neo. It's just it's so bad.
It's cartoon. You remember the first Spider-Man? How Spider-Man looked so cartoony,
Oh, it's much worse.
and they figured it out. Well, thankfully they figured it out by Spider-Man 2 because that's the best one of all of them. But he was so elastic and weird looking, and that's the exact same thing. That stupid fight, dumb fucking fight. Didn't he sit down in a fucking chair or some goddamn thing at that point?
He was using like a street sign pole. I don't know. The whole thing was
Oh,
bizarre.
it's dumb. It looked like shit.
There's-
It looked like
Which one was the one where the guy was jumping on the cars? Was that the third one? I remember the preview.
on the freeway. That's actually
Yes.
a pretty good.
That's
That's a pretty
the
good
third one.
set piece. That's a second one.
Whatever.
The second one
third.
is look. They're all just long and dull and
One
boring.
big pile of shit.
But
So
I'll
it's
give the
so
first.
You're describing the Lord of the Rings too, by the way.
Oh, that's gonna piss everybody off.
Okay, we're knocking the Matrix and the Lord of the Rings on this thing.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about the
Number
three
6.
endings at the end of the. Sorry, I'm gonna get this out now because we're on a tangent. But the 3 or 4 fucking endings of the last Lord of the Rings film, where the third act is 30-minute, and we're gonna end. No, we're not gonna. We're
That
gonna be
thing
in a
has
tavern. Oh, we're not
45
done yet.
minutes of endings. 45
Exactly.
minutes.
So does fucking the Empire Strikes Back remake. Damn it, I'm on a roll and I'm not gonna stop. The end of what was it? The Last Jedi? What was that one?
That was the
The whole
one
third
where Luke died, where Luke became a ghost.
Luke had a
yeah.
force stroke.
Yeah, and the third act is essentially a bunch of endings that take 30 or 40 minutes. And I took my kid to it. He's asking if the movie's gonna end, and I'm like, no.
No, we gotta watch
It's
the kid with the
7 more
broom.
endings to get through.
Here's a kid with a broom. I don't mind. I'm gonna be the heretic here. I really don't mind all the endings in the Lord of the Rings. I feel like there's a lot of characters and plot threads and things that happen. I feel like they earned it. I don't mind it, but I get what you're talking about.
Should have ended it in the tavern. Just everybody looking at each other with a beer saying, now what do we do?
Let me just say something. That pillow fight scene is the worst thing I've ever... It was the worst thing in any of those movies.
Yeah. I love it in Clerks 2. He says, I straight up thought that Sam was going to brick in Frodo's mouth.
I mean... They cut Christopher Lee's best scene, but they kept that in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. Number 6, Tarzan. That was the Walt Disney version.
I don't mind it. It's a cute little kids movie. It's got some decent Phil Collins songs.
That was an old-fashioned animation.
That was.
Yeah. The cool thing in that was that the animation was based on skateboarders doing half-pipe stuff. And that's how they animated Tarzan on the tree.
You know, there's a scene in that movie that I think is really well done. And it's when the mother ape finds Tarzan as a baby, and she's looking around the house, and you're seeing like scratches, and you see, you know, the two people dead, and you hear like echoes of a cat in the background, and it's all just done visually, and you clearly could see what the hell happened without it having to be at all. It's very, very well done. That movie I think is underrated.
It is.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Here's one that's not underrated at all. Number 7, Big Daddy.
Never seen it.
Adam Sandler's. I saw it once. I have no desire to see it again.
That's the one where he adopts a kid or some shit, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
or he's advertised
or whatever the hell it is.
It's a big McDonald's.
Am I thinking
commercial.
of Big Daddy? Because didn't he like Big Daddy, and then where's the one where he was something with the devil or whatever the hell it was?
Little Nicky.
Aren't those basically
those
the same movie? Okay, all right. I was making sure we're on the same page because that's how it felt. Plus, every Adam Sandler film that isn't Punch Drunk Love fucking sucks.
That's true.
Happy Gilmore.
He's not. Oh, fuck that. I don't even like that. I like Grandma's Boy because he's not in it.
Number 8, The Mummy, the first one.
Boom!
I like
Great
The
film.
Mummy.
What are you kidding me? That's almost the quintessential popcorn summer film from the 90s.
I think I like that movie better than just about everyone you've named so far.
Well, except for The Sixth Sense. Because I thought The Sixth Sense was just a genuinely interesting film.
Yeah,
and
that was good too. But I mean,
legitimately good
as
film.
far as just a fun adventure, rollicking adventure kind of thing, you know, it was good.
Yeah,
The Mummy's good.
It's a flawless action adventure film.
I also call it The Abuse of Brendan Fraser. That's the first one where he was really starting to get abused. And now he's a broken shell of a man thanks to those Mummy movies.
You know what's a good scene in that? Let me point out one thing. That scene in the library with Rachel Weisz on that ladder.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the dominoes
in the library.
Cases.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
Oh,
I mean,
you wouldn't get that in a movie
like.
now. You don't get that lighthearted sort of fun, sort of adventure kind of, not quite destruction, but not really mayhem either. It's just, here comes a set piece, and it's an old-fashioned comedy routine from the 20s or 30s. It's almost a Marx Brothers or...
It was a spiritual successor to the Indiana Jones movies, I think.
I was about to say it.
Yeah.
Some people probably think it's the best Indiana Jones film since The Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with
I wouldn't even
them.
disagree. Hot take. I like the last one. I can't remember the name of it, of course, but I liked
Crystal
it.
Skull.
Crystal Skull. I liked it. It was enjoyable.
There's some good stuff. You know what? There's some good stuff.
But The
in that
Mummy
movie.
is a better Indiana Jones film.
I would agree. There's stuff in Crystal Skull that's good. I watched it recently, maybe 6 months, a year ago. My problem with it is it's boring. Long stretches.
Oh, it is.
Sort of nothing happens.
I haven't seen it in a while. I'd have to go back and watch it. I didn't care for Mutt, but I put up with Short Round, so whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best stuff in that movie is the stuff before the adventure gets started. Really. The stuff in the desert. I think the nuke the fridge thing is no different to me than them in that raft going down the Himalayas out of the
I am
airplane.
100% with you. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I like it. And then I like all the stuff at the university with the motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
They knock Marcus Brody's head off the statue. I think like the second half of it needed work. Like they're not really aliens. They live in the space between spaces. What was that about?
George Lucas.
It's the 1950s, man, and it's George Lucas. He'd pretty much given up. I think he was so angry from the response from the prequels still. It might have been his chance or opportunity, or it might have been his desire to try and ruin that while he was still able, which is why I haven't seen an Indiana Jones film since.
And you never will.
You probably never will.
Well, they say they're working on one. That, dear God.
Yeah, good luck.
Stephen Sommers made The Mummy. And Stephen Sommers reminds me of kind of a poor man's Michael Bay. Michael Bay makes The Rock, which I think is a fantastic movie.
One of the best, if that's my favorite action film of all time.
Right. And then
Really?
And then Michael Bay.
I adore it.
But after that, Michael Bay doesn't understand the word restraint. And neither does Stephen Sommers.
Which I'm fine with.
Because Stephen Sommers then went and made The Mummy 2, which is terrible. The blimp that went like an F-15 in the canyon and things like that. And then he made, what was that one with Hugh Jackman? Van Helsing.
Van Helsing.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Garbage.
It's not even fun shit. It's just shit.
Let me just say something about Van Helsing. I didn't know that vampires in the 17th century could have breast implants.
Hey, man, you learn something new every day. We educate. We're out to help and have people learn new things.
They're sharing their truth, man. Stephen Sommers, I think he did I hope it's who I'm thinking of. He did this really cheap B movie monster film called Deep Rising. I think that was him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah.
Treat Williams in
Treat
that thing?
Williams. We had Treat Williams, Famke Janssen, I guess. I don't care if I got that name right or not.
Yeah.
And a couple other bit players. Oh, it's a fantastic little film. It is shit like you wouldn't believe, but I'll watch it. I like a good alien ripoff.
You know.
So, you want me to
Treat
continue, or
Williams.
you got more to say?
No, go on.
Okay. Number 9, Runaway Bride.
I've never seen it.
I think
Wasn't
that's
Notting Hill out that year too? Or am I thinking-
I think that was 2000.
Yes. No, it was number 16.
Oh.
Look at me.
I think Runaway Bride
nothing
was
to
where they
say
had
about it.
Richard Gere reunite with Julia Roberts.
I've never seen it.
If I saw it, I don't remember
right.
it.
Yeah, it is.
Number
Perfectly
10,
forgettable.
Blair Witch Project.
Never seen it.
Great film. You kidding me?
Great film once.
Never watched it.
Twice, it
Oh,
is
it's
grating.
still fine. It's still perfectly fine. Are you
Oh.
kidding
Everybody was
me?
like, it's only 60. I can't believe I paid to see it. It was only 65 minutes long. I'm like, I'm not going to watch that.
I saw it back when were able to sort of rip things, and stealing films was a new and exciting frontier, not basically just par for the course. And somebody had ripped it onto 2 DVDs or 2 CDs, and me and a buddy of mine watched it that way on his computer. Oh, movie's fucking great. Now, that's another one of those really great word of mouth viral campaigns that didn't involve the cesspool that's Twitter. You had to actually talk to somebody, not post something with a stupid fucking hashtag. So everybody suddenly started talking about Blair Witch Project, and you're like, no, it's a real thing. And you'd go in skeptical, thinking, no, I don't think you release a real movie that way. And they're like, I don't know, it might be, because some of it looks pretty convincing.
You know
It's
what
a
I love?
great film. It's easily one of the scariest films ever made.
You know what I love most about it? It's a bunch of it's a group of people who spent a grand total of $60,000 that came away with a movie that made $170 million.
Yeah. Then they have
God bless America.
And it was a huge hit worldwide too. I mean, if that isn't probably the most profitable film ever made, I simply don't know what.
I believe it is. I believe it still is the most profitable film ever made.
And I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's such a simple Simple, scare the fucking shit out of you.
Isn't Halloween up there as far as profitability goes?
I think so, yeah.
It is, but I think Blair Witch was the new champion.
Sure.
Yeah, Blair Witch is pennies compared to Halloween's dollars.
Number 11, Stuart Little.
It's all right. It's a little kids movie. What are you gonna say? It's fine.
You know what pisses me off?
The year of M. Night Shyamalan. He wrote it.
The thing that pisses me off about Stuart Little is that I had the book and I was a great fan of the book in my youth. And the book is much more of it's much different, and it's much more I don't know how to describe it. There's a lot more vignettes and things like that as he kind of goes on a little journey, and it's very open-ended on how it ends. And for a kid's book, it's really a lot deeper and a lot more is going on with it. And then they just made, basically a shit kids movie that really.
But it's not the biggest abuse of a source material I think we've ever seen.
Right.
No, I'm sure we could. That may be a whole show.
Oh, episode 12 Action Spectacular. Who fucked it up more?
Yeah. I know Game of Thrones is on the list.
I don't even know where to begin.
No, I'm with you, but that would be a great show story. But it's a fine little film. Was the kid from Jerry Maguire in it?
Yes.
Was he? Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank God.
Jonathan Lipnicki is his name.
Lipnicki. I think he's dead now or something.
Now he's taken enough steroids, he looks like a small fire hydrant.
He looks like Carrot Top. Little inside joke for you guys who like Carrot Top, bunch of fucking weirdos.
Number 12, Next. The Green Mile.
Great film.
Yep.
You know what my favorite thing about that thing is?
Nominated for an Oscar.
Yep.
Here's my favorite thing about that. It's a mouse that goes by the name of Mr. Jangles. I like Mr. Jangles.
Yeah,
I like that gay dude from Evening Shade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Mustache.
He's in there. Yep.
He was in Waterworld too.
Yep. He was in Jurassic Park 3.
A great film, by the way. Green Mile is a fantastic film. It's one of those like Shawshank Redemption, where just you take these Stephen King stories that aren't exactly horror, and you sort of treat the material with respect, and you mold it to fit a film, and it's actually it's another one of those things where it pleased everybody, where audiences loved it. It's got Tom Hanks in it, so at the time, nobody hated him. And then critics love. I don't know, maybe. Well, he did that drunken mask thing, and I think people were like, whatever. But I don't care. I don't live my life on Twitter.
I'd say Shawshank is better, though. If I had to pick between the two, Shawshank is better.
Shawshank has more. It grew legs, and it has staying power. And Green
Mile.
Mile.
That movie wasn't like a big hit. I mean, it's like.
No, I don't mean a hit. I just say Shawshank is a better movie.
You know what's weird about that movie is it's like number 2. It's been like number 2 on IMDb's best movies of all time since like 1995.
Does that mean that the number of people who have seen it is so much smaller, but they're just they're smashing that like button? Smash that like button. Yes. Don't forget to click where's the arrow? Don't forget to click the bell down here and subscribe to LMO. Check out our Patreon. It's going to be over here at some point. Right there. Sorry, Ben. You want to go, don't you?
Sure. Next.
The next one is one we spoke about, American Beauty.
Okay.
Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
Made 300-something million worldwide.
I'm sorry. I think that's one of the most overrated movies ever.
It's a little bit overrated, but it wasn't. It's one of those great where you get you don't see it very much anymore, because especially, I think I already said it, but you get the Best Picture category of the Oscars. That's such a subjective thing. We're not really going to argue that, but there was always this film that everybody went to and really enjoyed, made plenty of money, was a financial success. It was also a critical success. Everybody just kind of liked it. It was a part of the culture. It was what people talked about. You don't see that anymore.
No, now they do
What are
stupid
the
shit
we can
like
talk
that.
about the best picture winner from 1999, but nobody can remember the best picture winner for the past 10 years. And that's not. Look, it doesn't mean those movies the past 10 years didn't deserve winning best picture. They're probably the best picture of the year, but you had this great. Maybe just the audience has gotten dumber. I don't know.
I
But you had this
guarantee.
nexus of.
I guarantee
where the movie was actually
Guillermo
really good.
del Toro's "I Fucked a Fish Man" movie was never the best picture. It should never have been the best picture. It's garbage.
That is, what was it? It was Creature from the Black Lagoon remake or whatever the hell he's got going on.
The Shape of the Water.
The Shape of Water.
And then, you know what's a good one?
Bestiality.
You know what's a good one from the last 10 years, though? One was The Artist.
You know, I never saw
That's
it.
I bet it's good.
It's good.
I'm sure it is, but it's another one of those where doesn't mean it didn't deserve it, but you had it. It didn't resonate, sort of.
Well, I mean,
Which I don't like.
See, the thing is now, let me put it a different way. I agree with you. The thing is now, movies aren't blockbuster hits that win Best Picture. Movies that win Best Picture make like $5 million.
Like when Shakespeare in Love.
You even had Shakespeare in Love. Thank you.
Yeah, when it beat Saving Private Ryan, I was done with the Oscars. Then I never took it seriously again.
It was wrong, but Shakespeare in Love was one of the biggest hits of the year. It was just a weird time where the audiences really gravitated towards those.
Saving Private Ryan was a hit too. I don't think that.
It was the second biggest hit of the year. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying it also happened to be a film that actually audiences went to and embraced and kind of liked, even though it was forgotten quicker.
Here's the thing. The women, the Academy Awards, there's different people voting. Women voted for Shakespeare in Love. Men voted for Saving Private Ryan and a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So if most women voted for Shakespeare in Love, it's going to win.
Hey, that's how elections go. And I don't mean to say that the most popular film should be considered for Best Picture. I'm just saying this was the end of the line for popular films were also critical successes. And also met with these god-awful, self-serving, circle jerks of an award season.
This is why women shouldn't be allowed to vote.
One movie. Okay, so what's the next movie?
Yeah, we're just going to gloss right over that one, aren't we? Number 14. The World Is Not Enough. James Bond.
I like it.
I
like that one.
It's a great action film.
Is that the one where they got the guy from
Trainspotting? Begbie is the bad guy. And Sophie Marceau is the main bad guy.
Oh,
Remember when they tried to make her a superstar after Braveheart and everything else, but most of the world just doesn't like the French all that much.
And then, or the Scottish for that matter.
You're going to have a meeting later. Skank's going to want to talk to you.
And then, what was the other?
Denise Richards.
Yeah, she was terrible.
Christmas Summers or something
No.
Christmas Jones.
Christmas Jones. So original.
Guys. Nuclear scientist Denise Richards.
So you know what's funny in that movie? She's this nuclear physicist.
That's all you got to say.
5 words. She can't even string 5 words together in that thing.
And she's got the push-up bra from Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But
it's still great. I think it's still those Bond films. GoldenEye is just a legitimately good Bond film, but then everything Pierce Brosnan does up until Die Another Day was the last one he did, which is a god-awful piece of shit. Those big 90s action films are fantastic to watch.
I love them.
I think they're absolutely wonderful action films. Which
I don't like the
James
Bond movies after him too much.
I can see having that opinion. I like 2 of them.
I like Casino Royale a lot.
I'll tell you which ones you don't like are Quantum of Solace and Spectre.
Correct. Well, I haven't seen Quantum of Solace in quite a while.
I'm a big fan of Skyfall. It's a moment in time. You get it over with. I'm okay with the having to face up to whatever it is you like. I'm fine with that, but go back and stop it.
But then,
Stop making it a melodrama. It's not a goddamn soap opera.
Well, Skyfall was the one where they made Moneypenny a black agent, and then she shoots James Bond.
Run in the opening 2 minutes.
In the opening 2 minutes. It's like, I wonder if they're trying to say something
James
here.
James Bond ever going to be released? Do you guys want to take bets on it?
I hope not. I'd like to see Barbara Broccoli, put all this money into this thing, and it's the clown who laughed. That that movie I'm talking about?
It's the Jerry Lewis film.
The clown who laughed.
He made some movie. Jerry Lewis made this movie in like 1970 about a clown in the Holocaust, and it's finished, and he hated it and said, "This thing will never ever be released."
It's out there they finally did. I remember reading there is a finished, polished, put together copy of the film.
Yep.
Sitting in a salt mine in Utah somewhere, just waiting when he finally kicks off. Because that thing's going to make the midnight circuit for a decade at least.
Wow. If that comes out,
I want to see it. I don't even care. I just want to see it. I want to wash the taste of Life is Beautiful out of my mouth.
You got to see it just like you got to see that first time you see an actual car wreck. You got to watch it. You got to watch it.
And then the other one, the other lost movie, this one's a real lost movie, is that London After Midnight. That Lon Chaney, where he's that vampire guy with the teeth and the top hat. You've seen the picture of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Supposedly, people have been looking for that thing for 90 years. Nobody, I'm sure that there's a copy someplace.
There's got to be somewhere, and hopefully they can find.
The older they get, don't be so sure, man. That shit falls apart.
Well, the other thing was the old film stock was real flammable back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a ton of stuff we lost.
Maybe it doesn't, but I'd like to see that one too.
RKO figured that out when they burned the Magnificent Ambersons.
Isn't there a new? Oh God, who's the guy? I can't remember anything anymore in my old age. Who's the guy that made Citizen Kane?
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. Isn't there a new Orson Welles? I say a new Orson Welles. An Orson Welles movie.
Yes, it's unwatchable. It's on Netflix. I lasted about 10 minutes in this thing. It's terrible.
The Other Side of the Wind?
Documentary?
Yes.
Oh, was that weird shit he was doing in the 60s and 70s or whatever?
Yeah, it's like 1971. It's like this handy cam thing. It's all cut together, a million different cuts. There's no narrative.
Did he do F for Fake or something like that too? It was a film he did with somebody in Spain.
I think that was his last thing he directed, 1976.
Yeah.
But his last movie was Transformers,
which will always be his best.
Well, you know what he said. You know what he said. You know how he described that movie, Transformers. He said, "I'm in a movie. I'm starring in a movie about a bunch of toys that want to kill each other." That's how he described it.
He's not wrong. It's like they made him into a giant planet. It's like,
yeah.
I think he went method on that because he weighed like 7,000 pounds.
I think there was an HBO movie. Maybe you guys remember it. There was an HBO movie, and I think it came out in actually the year we're talking about, 1999. And it had Liev Schreiber played Orson Welles, and it was about RKO 281. And Roy Scheider was the head of the studio. John Malkovich was the writer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Mankiewicz, thank you. Bob Mankiewicz, something like that. And it's about putting together Citizen Kane, and it's got James Cromwell. He plays William Randolph Hearst, and
I've seen
Antonio Banderas' ex-wife is what's her name?
Marion Davies.
Marion Davies, thank you. Good film.
I like how you described it as Antonio Banderas' ex-wife, not Don Johnson's ex-wife. Twice.
I'm keeping it current to the 90s. Thank you. They were a power couple. Thank you to respect that. That's a great film, though. It absolutely takes liberties with the story, but it's a fantastic film.
So let me run through the list here a little bit of ones that you will probably remember. Analyze This, Wild Wild West,
Those suck.
American Pie, Sleepy Hollow.
I like Sleepy Hollow.
I do too. Third act sucks, but I love it.
Entrapment.
Dogma. Entrapment. Hey, when was the last time you saw the poster?
For what?
Great poster.
With
for Entrapment.
Catherine
Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it starred Catherine Zeta-Jones' ass.
Yes, and it's fine.
Pokemon, the first movie.
Catherine
Me Too
Zeta-Jones' ass
Strikes
gave
Back.
Douglas cancer.
Payback. I think that was with Mel Gibson.
I love that movie.
Great film. Brian Helgeland, right?
I
Made
think
a
so.
LA
I didn't
Confidential.
like-
Wrote LA
You know,
Confidential.
I got the director's cut of that when it came out, and I watched it once. I didn't like it as much as the original version.
Really?
I couldn't tell you anything about it. I think it was like less funny. It was like more serious. But that movie was like serious enough.
Yeah, it was perfect. It's a great film. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I love Payback.
remember the tagline? It's time to root for the bad guy or something like that.
Yeah, it was good.
Everybody would, it's Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon. He's going to be the bad guy now.
Yep. And then it turned
Yeah, I
out
love it.
he became an actual bad guy.
And you know what? I'll say this
Hate
about Mel
Zeus.
Gibson. Mel Gibson is a hell of a movie director.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
He's a hell of a movie director. Let me just say, if you haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, see it.
Did you
Probably the best World War II movie ever.
Did you see them take
No
him
kidding.
apart in South Park? Where he just runs around like a crazy guy going, "Oh, my nipples say hot."
My
And
nipples are-
they're
Didn't he rub
hot.
shit all over himself at one point?
Yeah. But so they did Imagination Land, and they brought in people to try to figure out how to restart their imagination. And they bring in Michael Bay, goes, "Well, you got to get all these cars." And they go, boom, and you get the sound, and then
Yeah, I remember
blam,
that.
and then these things. It's like, no, that's special effects. That's not a story. And then they bring in Mel Gibson, and in between his, "My nipples are hurt," he puts out a perfect story. He says, "God damn, say what you will about Mel Gibson, but the man knows story structure."
I remember that. Oh, I hope they're still around. God bless South Park and back then.
The talented Mr. Ripley.
You mean the gay
That's good
Mr. Ripley?
The gay Mr. Ripley.
I
That's Matt Damon, right?
yeah, that movie. I don't know.
It's terrible.
I don't like it. It's just very
awful.
off-putting.
It's the English Patient to me. I don't remember a thing about it, but I know
That
I've seen
one's
it.
bad too. I don't like either of those.
I wish Seinfeld would have done an episode about the talented Mr. Ripley. It would have stuck around a little bit longer.
What was the other? Thinking about what was the other Matt Damon movie he was in around that time that was like Brad Pitt, that one where he was an old man that aged in reverse.
Oh, that was a
But
while
Benjamin
longer. That was
That's
was
another one I can't stand.
yeah.
But that had Claire
Benjamin
Fleur, whatever
Button.
her name is. And she was in The Rock, right?
Who?
That's who I'm thinking of. Claire Fiorani.
Claire Forlani was in Mallrats.
Wasn't she in The Rock?
Was she?
Was she the girlfriend?
I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay, move along. We're not going to derail this show.
Any given Sunday. That is
Decent film.
Al Pacino's. You know what I'll say? Al Pacino's good in everything. Like he was good in that. Like I mean, he's good. I don't like that movie. I remember the name of Jamie Foxx's character is Willie Beeman because he writes a song about himself and he sings it the whole movie. But the only thing in that movie that's any good is Al Pacino's performance. The dialogue he has is good. His acting is always good. It's the only thing about that.
I remember
the scene between him and Cameron Diaz, where he was explaining to Cameron Diaz how he and her dad in the movie would come to their contract negotiations. Was a fantastic little scene.
I remember two things from that movie. One is Pacino's inspirational locker room speech near the end of the movie, And the other one where, for some reason, during a tackle, some guy's eye actually ended up sitting on the field. Just an eyeball just laying on the field.
What, didn't Oliver Stone direct that?
Yeah.
He's
I don't
he's
know.
one of the sportscasters too.
Is he? Okay. I thought it was
Yeah.
okay. I don't know. Deep Blue Sea.
I think Junior remembers Any Given Sunday for all the dong. Remember the shower scene?
Yeah.
Some of the various members of the community will remember the shower scene.
Lots of dongs. Deep
Dongs
Blue Sea.
days.
Remember Deep Blue Sea?
Great film.
You'll watch
Fantastic
Samuel L.
little
Jackson
piece
get
of
eaten by
trash.
a computer-generated shark.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Somehow
a
got skinnier.
it's a brilliantly done scene though. It's like at a moment when you're not expecting it, he gives this big speech and just gets eaten. It is the movie itself, I think, is kind of it's just B movie garbage, but that scene is brilliant.
I will give you that. Too bad the rest of the film didn't sort of embrace that insanity and just go for it.
Exactly.
But that's what you get from the director of Cutthroat Island.
Was that Rennie Harlan?
It was Rennie Harlan film.
I'll be damned.
It was
Okay, I
another.
didn't
You know
know
what?
that one.
He's not a bad action filmmaker.
He did Die Hard too.
He did do Die Hard too, which is probably one of the all-time great action films. But
Die
Deep
Hard
Blue Sea, it's fine.
Die Hard
It's fine.
2 is the only Die Hard movie that feels like another Die Hard movie. The rest of them just feel like action movies.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, they're shit. What you mean is they're shit.
Now this is number 30, and it's a personal favorite of mine, Galaxy Quest.
Great
Yeah.
film.
You know,
Oh,
let me say something. I'm going to say this. I don't think Sigourney Weaver ever looked better than she did in that movie.
She did look good.
That's a great. It's a loving tribute to Star Trek, which Star Trek now can't even do.
No, that's how you do
When
a
you have to
parody
go to
of Star
comedies
Trek,
to
not
really
Lower
embrace the
Decks.
fun of Star Trek, then you've fucked up whatever it is you're doing because you've turned it into a shit show.
Did you guys like that thing called The Orville? I guess that was canceled again.
I thought they were
Was it
doing it
really?
on Hulu.
I think it got canceled by Hulu.
Oh, that's too bad. I like the Orville.
I think I should cancel Hulu.
The only thing I didn't like about it was the all the Bortus stuff was just really cringy because they were trying to do things that just didn't make sense. But the rest of it I thought was really good.
Can I find it anywhere? Actually, as a matter of fact, because I never watched it. I don't watch
I've
network
never seen
TV,
it either.
Period. Oh, fuck it. We're gonna just say it's better Star Trek because we've seen the actual new Star Trek.
I think it's on Hulu, but I don't think they're making any new episodes.
Lame.
So I'm gonna skip a few here and go down to one that I really like at number 35, Bowfinger. It's Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy.
How many more movies do we
Frank
have on
Oz
this list?
movie, right? Oh, all the movies.
I'm
We're
just
gonna talk
I'm
about
trying to
each
pick
and
the
every
ones. That,
goddamn one of them.
I'm trying to
Get
pick the
your
ones I think that are
pajamas,
good.
We're going all night.
I'm gonna skip
All right,
Deuce Bigelow.
We're gonna go.
Things like
I'm
that.
gonna go about 5 more minutes, I think.
That's fine. We're getting low. I love Bowfinger. I think it's
I'm gonna
just
go
a
one more beer.
fantastic movie.
Didn't Steve Martin write the film?
Yeah.
Actually, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's when they
great
filmed.
film.
They filmed this whole movie with this Eddie Murphy plays two parts. He plays his brother and
Right.
this big star, right? And they're
Yeah.
filming the whole movie with the big star. The big star doesn't even know he's in it, so he begins getting just ultra paranoid.
Oh, it's such a good film. It's not bad from the guy who played Yoda.
No, it's great.
Frank Oz.
You know me-
Whatever you want.
I'm gonna say two things about. I'm gonna say something about Frank Oz. I'm gonna say something about Eddie Murphy. Like, so when they were making John Landis cast Frank Oz and the Blues Brothers, and he cast him in American Werewolf in London, and he said, if you ever need a guy to play a prick, get Frank Oz.
That's true.
And then the other thing with Eddie Murphy is, do you guys know who Eddie Murphy's favorite musical artist is? You guys will never guess.
Jimmy Buffett.
Elvis Presley.
That doesn't surprise
I
me.
buy that. I 100% buy that.
That doesn't
So,
surprise
like,
me.
Think about it, it's comedy.
So he the house that Eddie Murphy lives in, he bought it because from the outside it's identical to Graceland. I'm not kidding. He's like the biggest Elvis fan around. He's like a really big Elvis fan. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh man, if only there would be a Bubba Hotep sequel where Bruce Campbell is Elvis and Eddie Murphy is Elvis. I would 100% sign me up. I don't care. I love Bubba Hotep anyway. It's I absolutely adore it.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Okay, I'm going to do one more here that I really like. And
Three Kings. I'm going to mention this real quick.
That's the one.
Three Kings came out. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
It is. It's
filmed
great.
down by Casa Grande, which is like 40 minutes from me.
Have you seen it?
Brilliant film.
It's the best remake of Kelly's Heroes ever.
Won't disagree with you at all. And I think it's David O. Russell.
Yep.
I think it's still his best film. I think he should have won the Oscar for it. George Clooney, I think, is fantastic. It's when you can tell that Mark Wahlberg can actually act. And actually,
Ice Cube?
Ice Cube and Spike Jonze is in it, right? Spike Jonze is in it briefly.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Isn't he married to that terrible Coppola daughter?
Sophia
Coppola?
I don't know. Could be.
Critically acclaimed filmmaker of Virgin Suicides. Check your privilege, white man. Hold on,
I'm talking about the person whose nose ruined Godfather 3.
We haven't forgotten. God damn it, we're still pissed.
Now, she did do that one with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. That was pretty good.
Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation.
Personal jinx, you owe me a Coke.
But yeah, that was the one. That was the one I was going to bring up. Three Kings. That was the next one down the list. Because I love it. Fantastic movie.
So legitimately funny. It's funny. The war. If you're into war stuff, you've got your war stuff. It's just a fantastic film. It's actually even perfectly. It's a perfect critique of the first Gulf War. Anyway.
After that, I'm looking down here what I see that might be considered good. South Park movie.
Blues.
Varsity Blues, which I've never seen. Oh, October Sky.
You say something that might be considered good, and you say South Park. Come on, man.
You're kidding me? South Park, bigger, louder, and uncut?
Movie's okay. Are you kidding?
That is a fantastic movie.
Down Varsity Blues, I would have been like, you're right. I just said it to say it. Hey, but Election came out, and everybody thought, oh my God, Matthew Broderick's
Oh, but now that's a group. Now that's what year did that come out? 2000?
Was it 99 or 98? I think it's 98. I don't see it on this one.
I love that movie.
List.
You have the list, huh? October Sky, I think, is a great one.
Never saw it.
It's with Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's kind of a true story about Homer Hickam.
You need to say, you can stop right there.
It's before Gyllenhaal he was still a teenager. And I'm telling you, it's a really good, it's the one that introduced me to Chris Cooper.
There's some really great small films like The Insider and Bringing Out the Dead.
Oh, Bringing Out the Dead.
These were fall.
That's one of my favorite Marvel movies ever.
Oh, I'm with you 100%. I think it's one of the best Nicolas Cage films ever made.
It's got the soundtrack, the way music's used. The editing. That movie is awesome.
Oh, it's.
I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say that we're talking about stuff that's overrated. That's a movie that's underrated. That movie is awesome.
100%. Written by the guy who wrote Taxi Driver. It's Martin Scorsese, and it's
great.
It's Nicolas Cage when Nicolas Cage isn't owing money to the IRS.
I got to steal the Declaration of Independence again.
Yeah, right. Look, he hasn't done any. It just went off the deep end. I really like that Mandy, but
I never saw it.
I think it's phenomenal.
Didn't he do a remake of Left Behind?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he is. Let's talk about Godsploitation, because that was really popular in 1999. You remember when Ain't It Cool News would actually put out articles about Godsploitation films?
Yeah.
Because you had Megiddo, and you had Left Behind, and there were probably a couple of other ones. And that's back when the TBN network was really, really popular, and their Saturday nights were a fucking trip. Because they would play God music videos, and then you would have like Left Behind, or they would have a movie premiere for Left Behind or Megiddo. Oh my God, what a time!
Let's see here. Let's go through a couple others that I noticed that are pretty damn good. The Iron Giant, which didn't make squat, but it was great.
Vin Diesel. Yep.
Dogma was that year. I think it's
That movie sucks.
Yeah, I don't think it's that
The
great.
last great.
That was
the last
when I
great
learned that Kevin Smith was the emperor that wore no clothes.
Yeah.
I
Blast
think
from the
it's a
Past.
Fantastic film.
Never saw it.
It's the one
Dogma
where
is a fantastic film.
No, I'm talking about Blast from the Past.
That's a good film. Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser, where he's like, he's a
Alicia
kid in the
Silverstone,
60s,
right?
and they, through a series of mishaps, they think that the nuclear wars happen. They end up in a nuclear fallout shelter for 30 years.
It's a great little film.
Yeah. Being John Malkovich, it's one of those that I
If
like.
we don't mention it, we're gonna get shit for it. It's a great film. It's an absolutely great film.
It is, and it's one of those that I respect more than I like.
Really?
Yeah, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's like I know it's a good film. I genuinely enjoy it, but there's something that doesn't click with me enough. And I don't know if it's just the people in it are kind of garbage. Most of everybody in it is garbage, so it's hard for me to latch on to anybody. But I love the concept, and I love the narrative, and I love what they did, and the quirkiness of it all. I just don't. I don't know.
I think Adaptation was a
Yoda,
better
one
film.
more.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage.
Yep. What's that?
One more. This is the last one. Then I'm motoring.
One more. I'm looking. Muppets from Space. Okay.
If there's no more, that's cool too.
We're forgetting Eyes Wide Shut, the last Stanley Kubrick film, and it's actually a really good film.
Oh, Office Space.
Oh, Ben's like, oh shit, I gotta sit here and talk about this shit.
Office Space.
Ooh.
It made $2 in the movie theater. It made $4 million.
Office Space is great. Eyes
which
Wide
movie?
Shut, for fuck's sake, people.
Office Space.
It's good. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah, that's a classic that really became a classic. I can actually say it's one of those I saw in the theater. Apparently, I was one of the only ones. Made $10 million
If somebody
total.
ever says I've got a case of the Mondays, I swear to God, I will
Punch him.
You know what I can't stand? Here's the one I can't stand. Happy Friday. People write that in emails at my work all the time.
Really?
Happy Friday.
At least they
I'm
don't
okay
do.
with thank God we've made it, but if somebody says Happy Friday, it's not a fucking religious holiday.
All right, now everybody sounds like a robot.
Well, at least they never. One I've never gotten.
Onto our secrets. Poopy's gonna have the link tomorrow to some obscure place where we're all going to be lizard people. I've
All
said
right,
too much,
guys.
we need to cancel this.
Ben,
Guys,
go ahead.
Guys, I'm bailing because I feel like I'm in Tron. The way this sounds.
All right, stick it to the MCU.
See you guys later.
All right,
See you on the place
All
with the
right.
thing. Don't forget the bullets.
thank you very.
Albert Brooks will be posted later someplace.
Absolutely.
All right, bye guys.
So, Dom, to your point, I would say that there is some good stuff out here. I'm gonna have to readjust your video now because you're in super widescreen.
Here come the memes for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, no kidding.
There you go. Put the butthole right there. You're gonna do it anyway, Ray.
I think that there are some good movies in '99. And
I think
and
it's
classics.
It's the last. It's a decline from there. And you get to 2000, just as good, not bad, whatever. But 2001, you're like, oh, we sort of want to move on. Then you get what happens in 2001, and that brings everything to a screeching halt. And it just that's at that point, that's the great divergence. It's no longer. Nobody's really embracing the same thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some truth to that. I don't know. There's certainly. I don't think it all happened at once. I do think that the Independence Day thing started the downfall of where because by the time we got to like I'll just say Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the one that came out in 2014, which had a great trailer, and then you watch the movie and it's all trailer. That's all it is trailer.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been making, and they just use, hey, you know this thing, you remember this thing gives you either nostalgia boners or you just like this property, and you'll pay us money.
You're going to consume it, and that's all there is to it.
Right. And the idea of just making good stories is, it's just kind of gone by the wayside. So
you know what you had a studio that had all their different departments, and all those different departments were in on the, I hate to say creative process, but they were all in on it. So everybody was trying to put together the best thing they could possibly do that was going to make the most money that it possibly could. And you got stuff like, you might not like it, but you had American Beauty, which was the Best Picture winner that made $300 million worldwide, which at the time, that's a pretty significant chunk of change. Now it would be nothing.
Sure.
But now you have essentially movies are run by the marketing department. Nothing's going to be made unless 5 or 6 nerds in a marketing room can figure out how to sell it. You're not going to make it. As opposed to your job is to sell whatever it is we're putting together. Now it's your job is to put together whatever it is we're going to sell. And you don't make anything good. Look at the Marvel movies. How many movies they put out? 15, 20 movies over 15 years or whatever it is. We don't talk about any of it. Almost ever. Nobody brings up anything. We're like, oh, you remember what happened in whatever that. Like, I saw the first Iron Man and Avengers Ender's Game, or whatever the last one was called. And I don't remember anything about it. But you want to talk about The Mummy? Oh, let's go. I can remember The Mummy. Or American Beauty. Or even The Insider, which nobody saw at the time.
Yeah, that's probably true. Let me go through a couple of these chats here. Matt says, if you're going
begins the roasting.
So begins the roasting. If you're going to destroy the Enterprise and bring Kirk back, then you have to let him go down on his ship. That sounds vaguely dirty.
Yeah, but we all know that every one of us would go down on the refit NCC 1701A. Everybody would.
E-Bob says he hasn't seen Pearl Harbor, so don't spoil the ending. E-Bob, wait till you see Titanic.
If you thought Titanic had a surprise ending.
I miss you more than Michael Bay missed the point when he made Pearl Harbor. That was from the South Park, the Team America song. It's great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
E-Bob says, I watched them all recently. Matrix holds up, 2 and 3 don't. Yeah, I would agree. Artsy fartsy. Skank says, happy first anniversary, Broheims. Yeah, back at you, Skank. Dank Cthulhu says, hi, Ben. Hi, DY. No hi for you. I'm sorry. When do you get to do Super Champs? I don't know what a Super Champ is. I'm guessing when he says Super Chats, but I can't do a Super Chat until I have a heck of a lot more subscribers. So put the word out. Share us out there. It was based on aggressive inline skaters, actually. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I think he's talking about Tarzan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Trash. I'm thinking E-Bob's talking about The Mummy. He says it wouldn't have worked without Brendan Fraser. He carried that film.
I'll give you... Okay, yeah, you definitely did.
Yeah, but I don't think the supporting cast was crap. I really don't.
No, Rachel
Weisz is awesome.
The eyes. I think the little squirmy guy who appears in every Stephen Sommers film was good in that one.
Yeah, he was funny. Brendan Fraser's career was mummified long ago. Brendan Fraser, I mean, from what I hear, he went through some pretty nasty shit in Hollywood. And now he's doing Doom Patrol, which he's really good on that. So I highly recommend it. Shia LaBeouf kills that film. He's no short round. Agreed. Hail Michael Bay. Good God. How do you say something? I agree with you, Bob.
I do
and
like
then
Michael Bay
immediately,
films. I like most Michael Bay films. After Bad Boys 2, it's like, okay, I burned out and so have you, but between the first Bad Boys, The Rock, which I absolutely adore, Armageddon, which is still the loudest film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's still fun to watch.
I love The
Pearl
Rock.
Harbor, oh God, just
You know, one
What,
that
I-
I think that it bombed really bad, and I'm not saying it's a great film, but I don't think it's that bad, is The Island.
no, I love. You know what? Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one, but outside of the third act, The Island is a very good movie.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, though. When I saw The Island opening weekend, because I was like, oh, here we go. Steven Spielberg produced, Michael Bay directed. This is going to be good because I didn't know any better. And I was watching it, and about 20 to 30 minutes in, I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen this before. The Island is
Clonus.
parts the Clonus horror.
Yeah.
I'm still a huge Mystery Science Theater fan, and I go, I know this movie. And I looked up to my buddy we went to see the movie together. I look over at my buddy, and I'm like, this is just parts the Clonus horror. And it developed after that 30-minute mark, whenever the hell it was, I decided that, yeah, that's what this is. It's like, holy shit, that's what it is. And you find out that the Clonus horror filmmakers actually sued Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay and the studio for copyright infringement, and I think they settled out of court or something like that. It's the same goddamn movie.
It is. It's
But
exactly the same movie.
Parts of the Clone Wars is probably an okay film outside of Mystery Science Theater. I'm not going to sit through it and watch it, but The Island wasn't that bad. You just get into that third act, and it's like, oh, you can't control yourself, can you?
No.
You can't just...
Restraint.
And he did it with 13 hours, too. And I made it most of the way through 13 hours. The problem was I sat and watched 13 hours. I'm like, this is just a guy who's pissed he didn't get to direct Black Hawk Down. Which is a vastly superior film, which is probably one of the best war films ever made.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's just it's because it's a documentary style film, so it's just, here's what happened. This is it. It's fantastic. But he wanted to make it. I remember there was a premiere. Somebody had said that Michael Bay was in the running to direct Black Hawk Down with Jerry Bruckheimer, and ended up giving it to Ridley Scott, which would thank God was the right choice to make. Because it's weird. Ridley Scott showed some restraint at one point.
Well, Ridley Scott is a great director, but he has a uneven filmography, to say the least.
I'll give you that. But he'd made, what was the film, The Weatherman with Nicolas Cage?
I like that film a lot.
I love it. I think it's a brilliant film. So he clearly can tell a story if he has to, but otherwise you get Alien Covenant.
Yeah, or Prometheus. Let's see here. The total waste of opportunity with the Blair Witch franchise. There was a recent one, and I guess it was okay, but it was too late. I never saw it. Blair Witch is the last true classic horror film. That last one was weird and a bit of a lazy retread. I still want to see the original version of Blair Witch 2. I never bought Kevin Spacey's portrayal as a heterosexual male. Therigan agrees with me that American Beauty is horrific and everyone involved with it should have been torn to pieces. And Thomas says, well, Mena Silvari's career. Best picture, really, this is the best we can do. Good performance from a plastic bag. The artist was really good. With James Franco. No, that's the disaster artist. And Denise Richards, just so they could say, I thought Christmas only comes once a year. That was the only reason they
That is exactly why she's... Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it.
Dina Meyer.
Which is a cheap shot. And you know what? But that's the point when it was all downhill. That was the exact moment when it was all downhill from there. And that's why Pierce Brosnan only made one more Bond film, I think?
Yeah, I know he did The World Is Not Enough, Tomorrow Never Dies.
I think Tomorrow Never Dies came out first.
Which one is the one where he has to fight basically Rupert Murdoch?
That's Tomorrow Never Dies.
That's Tomorrow Never Dies?
No, wait.
I thought that was The World Is Not Enough.
That's The World Is Not Enough, because that's the crest on the Bond family shield or whatever. Something like that, right?
Okay. Tomorrow Never Dies is great. Bond.
Also a great film.
Quantum of Solace is so underrated. I'm going to have to give it a try. I haven't watched it in a long time. London After Midnight existed till at least the 60s. Vault Fire at MGM destroyed the last known print in 67. Forgets Orson Welles resigned. Look, dude, I'm going to turn 50 in a month. So you're going to have to deal with my random synapse disconnects here and there.
And I'm going to turn alcohol in 5 seconds.
That's right. Rumors have been flying around that there may be another print held privately, but doubtful. I'm thinking talking about the clown, the day the clown.
Yeah. Send in the clowns or whatever it was.
Clown cried or whatever.
Day the clown cried.
You guys have one solid head of hair between you. Yeah, it's not getting any better, dude. By the way, this is Mr. Scum in my YouTube, guys. Hey, hello, Mr. Scum. It's Hillbilly Disco. Meet Joe Black. That's where Brad Pitt was deaf.
Yeah.
Any Given Sunday is best known for James Woods' epic performance as a sleazy team doctor. Yeah, I love James. I love me some James Woods.
He's great.
Varsity Blues is a better American football movie. Fact. Maybe.
Okay. If you want to call it the Field of Dreams of American football films, which good luck with that shit.
Deep Blue Sea is the Roadhouse of shark movies. I 100% endorse that. I 100% endorse that.
Okay, points to whoever said that. You're
Hillbilly
absolutely right.
Disco, that is fantastic. Rennie Harlan makes parodies of action movies. Galaxy Quest. Yeah, maybe. Cutthroat Island. The fact that he got any work after that is just amazing.
Well, didn't he do? He directed Keanu Reeves' first film after Speed was a huge hit. Wasn't that a Rennie Harlan film?
Oh,
Remember the one with the Cold Fusion or whatever the hell it was?
Yeah, I know what you're
Freeman?
talking about. It was not a good movie.
Cold Reaction, something like that?
Yeah, Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction. Yeah, and then it had God, I can't remember it. Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Galaxy Quest is the second best Trek movie. What's the first? Hillbilly? Last great Star Trek movie. Yeah, I'd say that's true. Hey, TD, maybe one day you'll get knighted and become STD. Amazon Video. I'm not sure what he's telling me is on Amazon Video, but something's on there. Three Kings is fun, but I'm not as high on it as some. There's something about it like it's trying too hard. I don't know. I think it's fine.
There's a lot of. I think even the way the film looks over the course of the way it looks over the course of the film, I think is even interesting.
Yep.
It gets more bleak, more washed out, more. It's fantastic.
BJM. Which one was that? It's Precious Twaddle. When Harry visited Alamo Draft House, all sorts of things would be left behind. I've heard stories.
Allegedly.
Hillbilly says he could use some whiskey. Yeah, that's too much, Dom. IMAX, Dom. I was doxing you. I was briefly doxing you because your name was your I had to readjust the video so your name wouldn't show.
Oh, YouTube. Gotcha.
Yeah, from Skype. What killed movies? Too many suits who don't understand movies in charge. Pixar is the only one that still works. Why movie people run it? Yeah, but even Pixar is having problems. I mean, they come out with a good one every other time, maybe, but they're not.
Well, they're not hitting it like they used to.
No, they absolutely not. Dom's comment read: marketing is perfect summary. Yep. Frasier's wife effed him in the A in the divorce, as is Tardition. Yes. The hot chick with irritable bowel syndrome. Hillbilly says he said that too. Parts of the Clonus horror were better than the island. And Hillbilly says, I worked on Chain Reaction. It was directed by Andrew Davis. Okay.
All right. Guess I'm glad I'm wrong.
Well, we're happy to have you here.
The film anyway. Did you hit the bell right over here?
Hit the notification bell, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the big button that launches the nuclear weapons.
Don't just hit it, smash it.
Yes. But Mr. Scum is Hillbilly Disco. I don't know. Do you have your own channel, Hillbilly? You're going to have to show me because I don't know if I've done it. He's the Chicago guy who did The Fugitive. Wasn't the hot lady from The Mummy in Chain Reaction? Rachel Weisz was in that?
Probably.
I don't remember. Chain Reaction was one that...
I think so.
Yeah. It was like... Yeah, they were going to make... they were going to use water to make energy or something.
Just like in The Saint.
Yeah. That was the thing. We're going to make water and energy. Everybody's going to do that. Wouldn't that be nice? I always think it's funny how sometimes, for no reason, they'll start coming out with the same idea. And it's not necessarily that they're stealing from each other. I don't know if it's a groupthink kind of thing. It's like when Bugs Life and Ants came out at the same time, you know?
Remember Armageddon and Deep Impact?
Yeah.
Coming out within a couple of weeks of each other? Yeah. Something's up. Perhaps it's all one big studio. Maybe.
I don't know. It's it definitely, I think it's a small tight-knit community of people who actually, producers and stuff. I think one person hears something and they just start coming up with ideas or something along those ways, but
they
really
all
don't
run
know.
with it.
Yeah. So, well, I think we've done a good hour and a half. I think we've talked.
Yeah, well, we did an hour and a half. Yeah.
I was
trying to kill an ant. Hold on. All right, I got it.
I was apparently supposed to pick up groceries today, and I thought my wife was supposed to pick up groceries today. So, after we get done here, I'm looking forward to a very long evening of being yelled at. So
good for you.
It'll be.
I'm gonna go make ramen.
Yeah, I'm going to make a ramen Coke. Thank you.
Cheers to you.
Thank you. That was fantastic. I
take a bow.
I need to take a bow. That was one of the best stupid puns I've ever done in my life. So thank you all for watching. Remember, at Drunken Yoda 1 is my Twitter. At Movie Outpost is the site's Twitter. www.lastmovieoutpost.com. Facebook /Last Movie Outpost. And, of course, the YouTube channel, which you are right here. And we would love if you would share this out. Likes, subscribes. The more you share this out, the easier it is for us to keep making more and hopefully get to the point where we can super chat and that sort of thing. But we really love that you guys joined us. I think we had a pretty good night as far as streaming goes. Didn't lose any stream health or anything like that. So we've had 9 concurrent viewers at least. So thank you very much, and we'll try to do this soon. And I've got other movies that I'm working towards in the pipeline. So you take care. Any last words, Tom?
Go fuck yourself.
Well, he's not a man known to charm and charisma for nothing, folks. Anyway, take care, and we will see you on the next stream.